Hi everyone, this is Sherry. Today I'm working on a layout for the cut shop using the newly released Queen of Hearts cut file. And what I'm doing on this layout is I am using the cut file as a stencil. And so first of all, what I'm doing is just laying down the stencil. It's a full 12 by 12 and I wanted to cover my whole layout with the texture paste. So I'm just applied it to the background paper that I'm using, and this is from crepe paper, the poolside collection, and this is called Pool Time, and this actually came in our July hip kit in the main kit. So I'm using that as my background, and just kind of created some texture with those hearts, and you can see it there on the white background. And so I kind of at first was trying to decide which one I want to do because I really like that, but I decided to go ahead and go with the textured look, where I use the modeling paste over the cut file and use it as a stencil. And here I was going back and forth going, which do I want to do? And so I decided to go ahead and do the one with the modeling paste. I do end up using that other file, which you will see in another video on my channel. So I ended up getting double use out of that cut file, which is really cool. I used it as a stencil, and then I turned around and used the whole thing on a layout. So you'll see a link, or there's another, I'll put a link to that other video down below. But for this layout, I decided to go ahead and work with the textured layout, and I wanted to just add some, color to that background. And what I really like about texture, when you add the paint to it, paint really just takes certain, in those crevices and everything, it'll get darker. So you get a lot of contrast in the paint when you're applying it. I'm just using some inexpensive watercolors. I wanted a variation. I didn't, want it to be exactly the same color. So I'm doing a little bit darker pinks in some places, and this is going to be a all pink layout. In fact, when I got done, I was like, does it look like Pepto-Bismol fell on it, spilled over on it? But I think I was happy with it in the end. I don't do a lot of girly pages because, I have a grandson, but I do have nieces, and so periodically I'll get to play with some of their photos and get to use a lot of pink. So I decided to do that on this layout, and you can kind of see where that paint is kind of getting caught in the crevices of that modeling paste, and I really like that look. It really gives a lot of variations. And so I think these two layouts that I'm working on, this one and then the one that's coming next, is just a fun variation. It's just a fun way to see how you can, really use the same cut file and get a totally different look between the two layouts. And this one has a lot of mixed media. In fact, the layout ended up being kind of heavy because it is so, it has so much modeling paste on it. But it's okay. It was fun and I enjoyed it. So, and then I decided to kind of splatter a few little, things of ink. I'm using the Delusions ink and the bubblegum pink and lemon zest, and just kind of added a little bit more color there. And then I'm going to go ahead and start building my layout, and I'm going to be using some things from the hip kit. Some are still from my main kit. I do have some leftovers from my main kit, and I'm pulling some from, I think, the July kit. I don't know, maybe even June. I have a few kits. I'm a few kits behind that I just kind of been pulling product from. And so primarily I'm going to be using things from the hip kit, but again, I'm starting, with that background, and I'm using a picture of my niece, Madison, and she had got a new dress, and so she posed for me, and it was just so cute. So that's her there in that picture. And so I thought, hey, it'll be fun to do a girl layout because I usually do something with my grandson, so that'll be fun. And so I'm just pulling out different papers and just trying to do some layering pieces behind there. You're going to see me pull out several different pieces of the kit, and I'm cutting them up basically. I know that, you could get more out of them using them whole, or, but I was just looking for layering pieces. And so I did have some scraps because I have used some of this kit before. So I was kind of going through and just pulling out scraps and just trying to find pieces that I wanted to layer behind that photo to, just kind of raise it up a little bit and give it a little bit of interest. And so I'm going to play with that for a little while, and then after a while I just kind of start adhering everything down and making it work. I learned a long time ago I can fiddle with something so long and then I never make a decision on it. So that's why a lot of times I'll play with something for a little bit and I just start adhering it down, because I tend to just kind of go with the first thing that hits me, because otherwise I could fiddle with it all day and then it takes forever to get a layout done. So So I'm using that today is cut from one of the papers that came in the May kit. It's a cut apart paper, and I am trying to look and see who that is from, and I don't remember. I'm sorry. It's either, I don't know, Pink Paisley or Dear Lizzie. I can't remember. I think it might be Dear Lizzie, but I could be wrong. And then I'm pulling out, we had a lot of the citrus things from the Citrus Bliss collection, and I just thought the colors went kind of great with this layout with the pinks and the yellows, and so I'm pulling a few little doodads, I guess, embellishments, whichever you want to call it, from there, and then also from the Dear Lizzie pack of embellishments. There I have some Dear Lizzie, like an ephemera pack, poolside collection frames. And so I'm kind of just pulling bits and pieces together from whatever I have right there at my fingertips. And I just kind of pulled a few things out and just kind of started going through and finding some things that I thought would coordinate, that would look good, and going with that. So right now I'm fiddling with that frame from crepe paper, and I'm going to end up putting something behind it and kind of just putting some embellishments in that frame. I was trying to decide if I was going to use that tag, but it wasn't working out, so I just simply adhered some polka dot paper or some dot paper behind it. And I'm going to just start adhering and just putting in some of little pieces just to kind of make an embellishment cluster. And what I have to do is get that picture stack laid down, adhered down, so that I can work around and start tucking things in. This layout is definitely pink, definitely very pink. You know, it kind of grew on me after a while. After, you know, I looked at it a while, I was like, oh my goodness, is it too pink? But, you know, I decided I'm just gonna go with it. It's done, and it's what I was feeling at the moment. And actually, now that I'm looking with the yellow and things in there, it's not too bad. So, I don't get to use pink a lot, so maybe I was just trying to make up for it. I don't know. But you know what, I did love the mixed media on there, that modeling paste. I love to play with modeling paste, and so I'm really excited about the next layout that I'm going to be doing too. I've already got it done. I just have to finish the narrating and upload it. But it's just that one turned out completely different, and so like I said, it's really fun to see how you can use one cut file and get two different looks, and literally the same cut file. I mean, the cut file that I used to put modeling paste on this layout is the actual one that I'm using on my next layout. So that's really fun, and just is really, when you think about it, I mean, it just really you get more for your buck that way too. I mean, you can reuse them over and over. And so I'm using those little Dear Lizzie tags up in the left corner, and I'm just kind of stapling that little cord down there and just doing a little bit of layering pieces up there on the left. And I'm still fiddling with things here and there, trying to find something, you know, that I thought would work with the layout. I was going to try to use some of these puffy stickers, but I think I ended up using one or two, not many, but you know, just going through things, finding things that'll work, and colors that'll go, and making use of all of those wonderful products we get in those kits. We get so much that I have a hard time using them up, and especially because things have been so busy over the summer, and so I haven't been able to do a whole lot of, you know, projects, and you know, and as you can probably tell, I haven't been uploading a whole lot of videos regularly because these things have been just so crazy. And so in the process, I've gotten behind on my kits, and so I have all these kits that are piling up, and I feel like I have to use them all before I can use the next month, and it's just not happening. I mean, I'm gonna have to figure something out because I just can't keep up with it all. But I'm not complaining because we're very blessed to have all the products we do here. And so I pulled out that Heidi Swap date label that I wanted to use the date. I thought it would look great. It had some gold on it, gold and white, and so I decided to go with that. And I decided to use some StazOn ink because it is a kind of a slick surface, and so I wanted to make sure that I was going to use something that wasn't going to smear and something that would stay on there well. So I ended up using the StazOn ink. I had to go over a little bit, I think, with a pen because I missed part of the didn't stamp hard enough. I think I was trying to be careful because I didn't want it to slide on that slick surface, and I didn't get it stamped all the way down. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up. I've got some close-ups coming for you, and I hope you've enjoyed this, and you know, I hope it inspires you to use some of these cut files. You know, the Cut Shop is a great place for some great files, and I encourage you to go check them out. And thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.